Annihilation.
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 Annihilation!
1 minute at a time.
I had a dream, which was not all a dream. The bright sun was extinguished, and the stars did wander darkling in the eternal space, rayless and pathless, and the icy earth swung blind and blackening in the moonless air. Morn came and brought no day, and men forgot their passions in the dread of this their desolation, and all hearts were chilled into a selfish prayer for light. And they did live by watchfires, and the thrones, the palaces of crowned kings, the huts, the habitations of all things which dwell, were burnt for beacons. Cities were consumed, and men were gathered round their blazing homes to look once more into each other's face. Happy were those who dwelt within the eye of the volcanoes, and their mountain torch. A fearful hope was all the world contained. Forests were set on fire, but hour by hour they fell and faded, and the crackling trunks extinguished with a crash, and all was black. The brows of men by the despairing light wore an unearthly aspect, as by fits the flashes fell upon them. Some lay down and hid their eyes and wept, and some did rest their chins upon their clenched hands, and smiled. And others hurried to and fro and fed their funeral piles with fuel, and looked up with mad disquietude on the dull sky, the pall of a past world, and then again with curses cast them down upon the dust, and gnashed their teeth and howled. The wild birds shrieked, and terrified did flutter on the ground, and flap their useless wings. The wildest brutes came tame and tremulous, and vipers crawled, and twinned themselves among the multitude, hissing, but stingless. They were slain for food, and war, which for a moment was no more, did glut himself again. A meal was brought with blood, and each sate sullenly apart, gorging himself in gloom. No love was left. All earth was but one thought, and that was death, immediate and inglorious. And the pang of famine fed upon all entrails. Men died, and their bones were tombless, as their flesh the meager by the meager were devoured. Even dogs assailed their masters, all save one, and he was faithful to a course, and kept the birds and beasts and famished men at bay, till hunger clung them, or the dropping dead lured their lank jaws. Himself sought out no food, but with a piteous and perpetual moan, and a quick desolate cry, licking the hand which answered not with a caress, he died. The crowd was famished by degrees, but 2 of an enormous city did survive, and they were enemies. They met beside the dying embers of an altar place where had been heaped a mass of holy things for an unholy usage. They raked up, and shivering scraped with their cold skeleton hands the feeble ashes, and their feeble breath blew for a little life and made a flame which was a mockery. Then they lifted up their eyes as it grew lighter, and beheld each other's aspects, saw, and shrieked, and died. Even of their mutual hideousness they died, unknowing who he was upon whose brow famine had written fiend. The world was void, the populous and the powerful was a lump, seasonless, herbless, treeless, manless, lifeless, a lump of death, a chaos of hard clay. The rivers, lakes, and oceans all stood still, and nothing stirred within their silent depths. Ships, sailorless, lay rotting on the sea, and their masts fell down piecemeal. As they dropped, they slept on the abyss without a surge. The waves were dead. The tides were in their grave. The moon, their mistress, had expired before. The winds were withered in the stagnant air, and the clouds perished. Darkness had no need of aid from them. She was the universe. Lord Byron, Darkness. The video from the previous expedition continues. Kane has made 3 cuts in Myers' abdomen, one left to right, then one down, then one right to left. As minute 47 begins, Kane lifts that thick flap of flesh to the left, still making that 3rd cut to reveal. Even before he has the flap out of the way completely, we can see that Myers' organs are no longer Myers' organs per se. Maybe these large forms used to be his intestines, but they are too big, and they move. Reaction shot, Shepard, Lena, Radek, Ventress. Then second 3 back to Kane, face close to camera. Kane, there. He points, and the camera angles down on Myers' abdomen again. The flashlight gets there just after Kane's hand holds the flap of skin open. He still wears his wedding band, but we probably do not notice this because of the eel-like forms inside Myers' abdomen, moving in a circular direction like they are coiling around the internal organs we cannot see. They are bloody. They are close to what we might expect to see, but also so very different. Production designer Mark Digby tells Abraham Reisman, Vulture Magazine, 23rd February 2018, quote, "The man hasn't exactly been hybridized with any particular animal. It's just weird stuff going on inside of his guts. We looked at decaying people and how maggots and other bugs overwhelm your body. We looked at eels. We looked at all of those sorts of animals, fish, microscopic worms and stuff. It's been able to take his DNA and his organs and they've mutated into something that's a replica of some sort of animal, fish, eel, or bug at some point. Where that knowledge has come from, I guess I'm not sure, other than that our genome history is mixed with so much else through evolution." End quote. Reisman explains further, quote, "There was discussion of having the growths come out of his stomach or mouth, but they thought it'd be far better if it's living in there and that it's growing from within." End quote. And the effect was practical, done on the set using a fake front abdomen and a couple holes in the wall behind to pull these bloody tubes through. Tristan Versluy, prosthetics and animatronics supervisor.
So we had a scene where Kane was cutting open someone's stomach, and the idea was to shoot it as live as possible and have the knife kind of go around the prosthetic chest that we built that kind of extended out in front of the actor.
Oscar Isaac, Kane.
They had created this whole prosthetic torso that could be cut open, that had layers underneath, and it's this weird thing to show whatever is in Area X is inside, and he's changing, and his intestines are moving like snakes, and again, quite surreal imagery.
Tristan Versluy.
So we had that basically all live, rigged up on set, with the sort of worm intestines going kind of through the set behind him when we were operating them.
Reverse it, guys. That's it. That's the way. Just like that. That's the way. That's the way. That's good. That's good.
So we shot, the whole scene with sort of like a blood knife cutting open the fake skin and revealing the sort of moving intestines. I think it was quite exciting. It was nice to see.
Oscar Isaac.
Yeah, and to do that scene was just a lot of fun to do, and again, it felt wild, quite wild. I really love Alex's approach.
Second 9, we get a cut within the video. Camera angles on Shelley, played by Josh Danford. His head on Myers. Myers' head is pressed into Shelley's shoulder, and Shelley has one hand around Myers' head, comforting him. Myers is still alive, but not for long. His eyes are open, but unfocused. Shelley turns his head and kisses Myers' forehead lightly, and we get another cut. Back to Kane. Myers' head is down, his eyes closed. Kane has his hand inside Myers' abdomen, and camera moves in close on Kane's hand behind one of those moving eel intestines. It moves to the right. One just above and one just below that one move to the left. Second 16 cut, and camera is already angled on Kane watching this, and something in his expression seems like not just fascination, but maybe a twisted joy at this insane thing happening before him. Kane turns to camera, almost smiling. Then second 18 cut again within the video to Kane at right side of frame, crouched down, his arms extended, his hands in a few inches of water over a tiled surface. His knife lies on the tiles by his right hand. Camera moves in closer to Kane's hands as Kane rinses away the blood. Jump cut, second 22 to the 5 women. Lena still looks horrified. Shepard looks perplexed. Ventress is hard to read. Radek is turned away from the video, her head toward Shepard. In the script, Shepard switches off the camera. But on the cut, Thorensen is already reaching for it. Thorensen. Okay. So we know what happened in the last group. They went insane. She closes the flip screen. Lena turns away to the left. Ventress takes a step back to the right as their huddle spreads out. Shepard opens the hand she had by her mouth. Shepard, there was something alive inside that man. Lena continues to move away to the left. Radek cuts in front of Shepard, also heading to the left. Thorensen, no. Cut to second 28, angle on Lena, crouching down, the women behind her. Thorensen, continued. That was a trick of the light. Shepard, what? Thorensen, I've been a paramedic for 10 years, alright? Scrape people off the side of the road. Second 33, close on Thorensen, Ventress behind her. As Thorensen continues, Ventress exits frame to the left. Thorensen continued. You see some weird shit. That was a trick of the light. Second 36, angle from behind the opening to the kitchen, maybe? The women in the distance? Ventress, rifle in her hands, leaving the group, heading toward left of camera. As they debate, Radek turns and heads to the opening to the outside. Ventress keeps walking up. Lena remains on the floor, and Thornson's energy has her gesturing and gradually moving away from Shepard to the left. Radek, these insides were moving. Thornton, no, it was shock, Radek. That was a shock response. Shepard, watch it again. Thornton, no, I'm not gonna fucking watch it again. Shepard, that was not intestines. It was like a worm. Okay, then you watch it, Shepard. Now Ventress is almost at left of frame. Thornton turns away from Shepard, and though all 5 women are still in frame, they are very much separate from one another. And we can see who these characters are in the moment. Ventress, single-minded, determined, is already off to check, as we will see next minute, the location where that video was recorded. Thornton, angry, in denial. Shepard, the only one who hasn't gone anywhere since the video ended. She wants to talk it through, solve it. Radek, now standing effectively outside the building, outside some sort of sliding panel door at the far end of the building beyond the table. She seems calm already, serene. And then there is Lena, first to separate from the group, but having nowhere to go but into herself, crouched down on the floor, stuck. From the script. Thornton, you know them, right? For a moment, Lena thinks Thornton is talking to her. Then sees Thornton is directing the question at Dr. Ventress. Thornton continued, It's the team that went in the year before us, the Spec Ops guys. Dr. Ventress, yes. Shepard, including the one tied to the chair? Dr. Ventress, his name was Meyer. Beat. Then Thornton starts walking, rather than Ventress in the film, in the same direction we saw Shelley walk, down the length of the barracks to the showers. But this is not the barracks in the film, it is the mess hall, and now Ventress is gone from the frame, second 51. Shepard turns and notices Ventress. Shepard, where are you going? Shepard follows after Ventress, then Thornton follows. In the script, after a few moments, the others go after Thornton. Except Lena. Halfway down the barracks, Dr. Ventress stops, looks back at Lena. A beat between them, then Lena follows. In the film, as Thornton falls in line behind Shepard, their silhouettes merged. Radek also turns to follow, and time runs out for this minute.
We spoke. What was it we said?
Wordlessly watching, he waits by the window and wonders at the empty place inside.
Annihilation is all we are.
Annihilation.